Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. We have acquired a microphone, so hopefully the audio sounds considerably better. I would hope so. Today I wanted to do like a completely different style episode than I've been doing. I feel like normally for all of my episodes, I put a lot of time and effort into planning them. Like I make like a full outline for almost every single episode, like a lot of notes. And today I've made no notes. Today I've literally just driven out with my new microphone and I have thought about what I'm going to say, not at all. But I kind of just wanted to make an episode that felt not necessarily just an episode, but I kind of just wanted to infuse the podcast with a little bit more of like a casual, personal vibe. Like, I feel like I always wanted the podcast to feel very personal and kind of just like a friend talking to a friend, you know what I mean? I never really wanted it to feel super formal or like thought out and planned. And I have been enjoying how I've been, the episodes that I've done. And I am really interested in psychology and things. So episodes about the nervous system and attachment styles and stuff, like I find really fucking fun and interesting. But sometimes I kind of just want to yap. Do you know what I mean? I just kind of thought, why don't I try something a bit different? Why don't I just talk with no end goal? Just talk about not necessarily myself, but a little bit more personal than it has been. Like I feel like you probably don't really know anything about me. Do you know what I mean? Like, unless you actually know me in real life, then through this podcast, like, you barely know anything about me. So, yeah, I just thought I would come out and use my new microphone, which is really exciting, um, and just fucking yap. So, I currently live at home. I live with my family. I'm 21. And, at the moment, I work 2 different jobs. I'm obviously not going to say what they are, but something that I feel like I've been thinking about recently is like the jobs that I do, neither of them are like super like long term, like career kind of jobs. Do you know what I mean? They're very like 21-year-old kind of jobs, like retail, bar work kind of vibes. And to be honest, I feel like as much as that kind of job, working in like a bar or a cafe or something, it doesn't feel like a job that's super impressive or super like, it's not really going anywhere. I'm not like climbing up the fucking ladder at either of these places, and neither do I really want to. But it works for me right now, and I feel like there's this weird feeling that I've had recently where I don't know how to describe it. Like, I feel like I've almost been tempted to go into a different career path or go get a job that I feel like sounds a little bit more like adult. Do you know what I mean? Just purely because of how it looks. And like, I feel like there's almost this pressure that I don't really notice is there, but it definitely is. And recently I've been aware of it. That like, from the outside, I feel like I'm conscious of like, I want to show that I'm moving forward. I don't want people to look at me and think, she's doing the same thing she's been doing for the last few years. She's still not, I haven't gone to university. I haven't got any fucking like, I haven't got a degree in anything. I'm conscious, I guess, that it looks like, what are you doing? And the last thing that I would ever want to be like perceived as is like lazy and like someone who's just like got no drive and ambition, because that's not me at all. And again, like if you know me, you'd know that. But like, it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't really know why I care, and I don't really know how much I actually do care. But I noticed that I was applying to all these different jobs that like, do I actually, like, if I ask myself, do you actually want a new job right now? Like, why do you feel like you need a new job right now? It's kind of like partially boredom, because it's like I like a change every now and then. But it's also very heavily the fact that I feel like I said, I feel like then people don't think, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you progressing at all or like growing at all? Like, and then I'd have something to say if someone's like, oh, what are you doing these days? I could then be like, oh, I'm doing this now. And people be like, wow. Like, but the thing is, like I said, what I'm doing works for me. I think there's so many different areas in life that I've been working on and that I've been growing in, but they're kind of the areas that I feel like people don't really see because they're more personal. And so I guess I'm conscious, like from the outside, it looks like I'm just fucking about doing nothing with my life. And to be honest, no one really cares. Like I say that all the time in this podcast. No one's really watching or caring that much about what you're doing with your life. People are generally quite focused on their own shit. Clearly, because I'm sat here talking about my own shit and like someone else could feel the same way and like I'm not noticing because I'm too busy thinking about how I'm being perceived. But yeah, it's like the amount of things that I feel like I've in the last like 5 years maybe. When did I become an adult? Oh my god, counting on my fingers. I don't know, like let's say 5 years. Have I career wise and like studies wise made any like big strides? No. No, I have not. But that doesn't mean that I haven't been growing or like using my time wisely, and it doesn't mean that I've just been stagnant, because I haven't. And I think it's kind of because I know a lot of people that I feel like are kind of stagnant at my age, and not a lot, but there's obviously the odd person that like is quite just like complacent. I don't know. I don't want to fucking judge, because do what you want, but like I think I'm conscious that I'm like, I don't want people to look at me and be like, she's the kind of person that's just like got no drive. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm not one of those people. Like I want to do big things, but it just looks like I don't know. Maybe this is very much probably just in my head. But yeah, like I said, the amount of areas that I feel like I've been growing personally and just in ways that like people don't see is crazy. Like I've been not stagnant at all, like in terms of my like confidence and my relationship with myself, how I take care of myself, my relationships with people in my life, my discipline, my hobbies, I like my routines, like the difference between me and like me now and me like 5 years ago is huge. Like I don't know, I feel like people are so like at this age, all people fucking ask you about is your studies and career. Like what are you doing now work wise? That's what they mean. Um and like I guess relationship wise. Like I feel like that's the only things people really ask about. No one really asks like, personal shit like are you like more comfortable within yourself? Like no one fucking asks you that, obviously, because that would be a bit strange. People just ask like, what are you doing now? Like where are you working? Are you still with that guy? Like that's kind of what people ask. And I feel like this age is like so known for that. Like you just feel like there's so much pressure on you to know what you want to do. And I feel like that had been kind of getting to me recently without me really noticing. Like I said, the jobs that I'm doing right now, do I love them? No. Do I mind them? No. Like at the end of the day, no, I don't mind them. I know myself that I'm not going to be doing that forever. Do you know what I mean? Like I have other things that I like doing, but I just feel like, I don't know, there's been other things that have been way more important to me. And like, I'm personally not in any rush myself. I just feel like it's easy to feel rushed by external factors like other people. I don't know, like I said, like I'm like, shall I just go to university? Like just because people keep fucking asking me about it. So like I might as well go. Or like, should I go get a job that's a bit more like of a 9 to 5, adult situation, because then people would be like, oh, fair enough. And then they wouldn't really question it. Whereas now, when I tell people what I'm doing, they're like, oh, what's your next plan? Like, what's your next step? Because it is kind of like like I said, it's a short-term situation. People then ask more questions. And I'm like, there's other things I'm fucking doing, thank you. Like, I don't know if I just like am projecting and taking it too personally, like probably. But like I love what I am doing with my life, and I'm very proud of my growth the last like 5 years. I feel like I have changed so much. I've become so much more confident in myself. I've started this podcast, which I love. Do you know what I mean? Like I've got other things that are really fulfilling to me. And that, like, oh my god, what the fuck? Why is my neck so red? I look like I'm allergic to something, but there's nothing there. Okay, anyway. Yeah, like, and my friendships and like my kind of, I guess it is like sense of self, my like tolerance for shitty people has gone down so much. Like, I feel like I've just kind of come into myself massively in the last few years, and I feel like it's quite easy due to like the pressures at this age to not really focus on that kind of thing and to get pressured into going to university because you just felt like you had to, or getting a job somewhere, or like, I don't know, just doing shit like mindlessly because everyone's asking about it all the time. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I feel actually kind of proud of myself in a way for not doing that, and for being like, I don't want to jump into something for reasons that aren't like authentic to me, because that doesn't sit right with me. Like, I am a very like, if I don't want to do something and I have like this kind of resistance to it, in a sense of like, that's not the direction I'm meant to be going in, I generally like, I don't do it. And I think that's quite a good thing. Like, I'm quite proud that I am working on shit that I actually care about, not the shit that I feel like looks better, if that makes sense. But like, it's shit that like, it sounds so minor, but like, I've learned how to cook so many fucking things, and like bake different things, and like organize my time and be disciplined with so many things. Do you know what I mean? Just discipline in general. I've really gained, and like, even just through being in relationships and through friendships, like, I don't know, I feel like I've spent a lot of time in the last few years really, like, self-improvement is huge to me. That's like such an interest and a priority, and I feel like I've read so many fucking books over the last few years about self-improvement, and, you know, watched and listened to so much shit about it because I just find it so interesting. And I feel like that's not time wasted. Like, I feel like genuinely, this is obvious because it's self-improvement, but I feel like genuinely so much better of a person than I was before I got really into this, because it's just like, I don't know, I'm glad that that's been more of a priority to me. Like, laying out a foundation of like, who am I? What do I care about? What kind of things do I want? And actually like take the time to let myself work shit out that's important to me before I start just planning out a life that I haven't really thought about. I think because I used to get such bad anxiety, and I used to be quite fucking miserable, and like, I still get anxious and I still get miserable, obviously. But I used to be like, oh my god, like depressed and like anxious as fuck, like not in a good place. And I don't know if maybe that had a role where, because I was so like down, I feel like it just became so important to me that like, this is a bit like dark, but like, when you felt that fucking low, I think you kind of realize that everything, like what job you do and like shit, like, you're like, I'd rather just work on actually enjoying myself. Like, I need to be okay and happy, and like, that's so much more important to like, I don't know, to me it's so much more important to think about what makes me happy, and like, what kind of things do I want to do, what kind of things make me feel good. Like, that to me is like, I don't know, I love it. I love thinking about things like that. Whereas like, what job do I want? I'm like, I kind of don't fucking care right now. I'd rather just like enjoy myself. It's kind of one of those things where I'm like, that's just one area of my life. And I don't think, to me, my career is, I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of figuring out how career driven I think I am. Because I'm quite an ambitious person. I'm like a driven person, and I get very fixated on things. I'm very obsessed about things, and I'm very like, if I want to do something, I don't need like, I put such like a fire under my own ass. Like, if I want to do something, I will fucking do it. Like, I'm very driven. My mum always said to me, like, she was like, whatever you do, you generally can make yourself pretty good at it. And that's not me trying to like toot my own horn, but like, I just am an obsessive fucking personality. So if I want to learn about something, I will learn about everything to do with it. And that's just like, I don't know, that's just who I am. And yeah, my mum would always say, like, if you want to do something as like a job, I have no doubt in my mind that, like, if you want to get good at something, you put your mind to it, you will just do it, because that's kind of just like my I don't want to say my personality is just being good at things, but like my personality is like just I obsess over like one thing at a time. Do you know what I mean? And like I feel like my podcast has been that for me since I started it. Like I love this. I fucking love this. I spend so much time thinking about this podcast, planning episodes for this podcast, talking about it with my friends and my family, and like buying fucking equipment for it, because it's just like, I don't know, it's kind of like all I think about. Like it's not. It's not. I think about other things, but like it's definitely one of the most important priorities in my life. And like I kind of feel like that's just because it's so me. I have loved podcasts for ages. I love hearing people talk about things. I love talking about things. I have so many interests, and like having an outlet to just fucking yap about them. It's just like, it makes sense to me that I would have a podcast. You know what I mean? It just like, it suits me so well. I love it. I find it so fun. And it gives me a focus. And this is kind of what I mean, like going back to my original point, that like, what the fuck was my original point? Like, I don't even know. Like, from the outside, I've been conscious of like, I don't know, just like people being like, but what the fuck are you doing? Like, what's your goals? What are you working towards? Like, you're just doing the same shit. And again, like, do I think anyone actually cares that much? No. It's just, you know, something in my head. But it's like this podcast is something that I put fucking hours into. So I think part of me, it just pisses me off, because I'm like there's things that I work really hard on that I love doing, that like I'm passionate about, that I feel like people don't really take seriously. They're like, yeah, but like what are you doing? And I'm like, this is kind of like a whole different point. But to me, like I don't know what the meaning of life is. Like I don't fucking know. But for me, I kind of think it's just being passionate. Like that sounds so cringe, but like spending your time and like filling your days with stuff that like excites you and fulfills you and you feel passionate about. I kind of feel like that's like, for me, the point of everything. So I'm kind of like, if I find this podcast really fun and I spend hours on it, that's a life well lived. If I find friends that I love and I just go do fun shit with them and go out for a drink or go camping or go like to the beach, best day ever, no complaints. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really feel like you need to know what job you want. I don't know. To me, it kind of just feels a bit backwards, where I'm like, obviously, I understand jobs are important. We need jobs. But like, to me, it's like, that's not the most important thing at all. Like, unless I was doing something for work that I absolutely fucking loved, then obviously I would be passionate about my job, because I'd be I'd be doing it whether I was paid or not. That's kind of like the ideal situation, isn't it? Everyone would love a job that like they feel that way about, which I understand is, you know, somewhat unrealistic. It depends. I don't know. But I don't know. I just think I've felt this pressure. I feel like weirdly stagnant, but I don't feel stagnant. I just feel like it looks like I'm stagnant. Does that make any sense? But it's like the amount of things that my life is filled with things that I love. I feel like, what the fuck is the point of life? That's the point to me. And I don't know, I just kind of feel like the world is weirdly centered around, it's not weird, but like, I don't know, centered around work. And it's like, I don't, I don't necessarily, like, I work, don't get me wrong, like I said, I have jobs, but like, is it the center of my life? No. And like, again, like I said, unless it's something that I'm insanely passionate about, I don't know that I want it to be the center of my life, because to me, and this is different to everyone, like what you think the point of, you know, what is a life well lived to you is going to be different to everyone you ask. But to me, it's nothing to do with that. Like I said, it might look like from the outside the last handful of years of my life I've been not doing anything that significant. But do I actually feel fulfilled in like those 5 years or whatever, like have been really positive? Yes. Like I feel like it's just one of those things where it's like you have to like be on the same page with yourself about what matters to you, and then it doesn't fucking matter what it looks like. Like, I know it doesn't. It's just kind of something that I feel like a lot of people could probably relate to, because it is at this age so normal to do shit just because you feel like you should be, or like you feel like you need to do certain jobs and you need to be working towards stuff and you need like a 5-year plan, and like you don't need to do that. Like, if that makes you happy, then do it. If you think it might, then try it. Like, how else are you gonna know? Do you know what I mean? I do think having a sense of um like a purpose is huge. Like, having a focus. I think everyone needs a focus. I think if you don't have that, you just lose your mind. Like, I don't know, again, maybe it's different for everyone. If I don't have a focus, I like am so anxious and stressed. And for me, right now, this podcast gives me a focus. And like, it doesn't matter how long-term shit is to me. Like, I don't know, I'm like, if this right now is giving me a fulfilling life, I'm enjoying it, it's giving me a focus, I'm having a nice time, I don't really give a fuck if it's the exact same thing that I'm going to be doing in 5 years, or like if I know exactly what direction everything is leading in and I've got this plan. Like, and that's coming from me, and I am someone who loves to plan and I love to organize, and like it's just kind of like I don't know, even coming from me, I'm like, I don't think I need to know. Because I think I saw a quote the other day that was like, you plan and God laughs at you. And like, I think that's so true. Like, to an extent, like, plan shit, sure, but like if you have like a really strict plan of your life, you have no idea that it's gonna go that way. Like, you have no idea. And like, it's kind of just like a coping mechanism, is it not? To like have a 5-year plan, because it's like, it just makes you feel, again, you feel like you have a focus, and we need that, and it's something to lean on, and it keeps you sane. But like, is it necessarily exactly what's going to happen? Probably not. But it's just kind of like, we all just need something to feel like we're doing and moving in a certain direction, that we like plan shit out all the time, even though we can't plan shit out. Like, realistically, you have no idea what's going to happen at all in any area of your life. So it is partially delusional to plan shit, but at the same time, like, we need it. And even if it is a coping mechanism and it just makes us feel like we're a little bit more sane, if we wake up and we know what we're doing, like, structure is huge. As you know, I talk about that all the time. Like, I am the most structured, routined creature of habit that you'll ever meet. Like, it's laughable. I do the same shit all the time, like a fucking robot. No, I think there's a difference between structure and planning. What the fuck am I talking about? See, this is my first episode with no notes, and it's just like, am I even speaking English? Like, do I need notes? I don't think so. I'm having a nice time, honestly. But yeah, I feel like it's so normal to feel like you have no idea what the fuck you're doing, but then you feel this kind of pressure to make it look like you're moving in a certain direction, even though it's like, are you? Like, another thing that I saw recently was like, don't fall into the trap of just being busy to be busy, because there's a difference between being busy and actually moving forward. There's a difference between having like a full calendar of shit to do and not having any free time, you know, just being a really busy person and feeling like you've got like this, it's kind of giving you like a false sense of direction. Like, you're like, I'm busy because I'm making moves, but it's like, are you? Like, or are you just fucking busy? There's a difference between being busy and moving forward in like whatever way that is to you. Like I said, I think moving forward, why it's different to being busy is because it doesn't need to be super fast paced and like draining. It can be like, I'm just doing a small thing every single day that's moving me in the direction of something that I want to be better at, or an area in my life that I want to grow in, or an area of self-improvement that, a weakness, a weak spot that maybe you have as a person. Maybe you're really impatient, or maybe you're really judgmental, or maybe you're a really flaky friend. And for you, maybe you moving forward is being like, okay, I'm going to be more reliable and I'm going to do X this week to work on that. And then it's like you're moving forward, you're working on yourself as a person, and I think that's huge. And I don't think working on yourself as a person should be any less important than working on what job you want. Like, I'm not trying to shit on, like, if that's important to you, then great. Like, it obviously has to be to some extent because we all need work. But, like, I don't know, like, you could have, like, a really amazing career and be such, like, a immature, shitty person. Like, I don't know. And I'd rather feel like the best version of myself and have my career just, like, fund my life. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of working on, not working on, but kind of, like, exploring how career-driven I am. I don't know, and I don't really know that I need to know. Like, I think it's fine that I'm not really sure. But I kind of, like I said, I've always been really ambitious. And I feel like it gave me a little bit of an identity crisis when I realized, like, I think I am ambitious, just maybe not with work. Like, maybe that's not the area that I'm ambitious in. For me, I feel like the drive is more like I want to do so much with my life and I want to grow and I want to try different things and go to different places and experience different, like, I don't know, meet different people and honestly just shit like try different restaurants, go to different yoga classes, like bake a different kind of bread. Like that to me is like, that's like, I'm excited about that. It's just like trying all the different flavors of life. Do you know what I mean? That is to me like what I'm like, oh my God, that gets me up in the morning. Like I could take my bike and I don't really fucking cycle, so this is a weird example. What's more me? Swimming in the sea. I could drive to like a beach I've never been to and like bring a book that I'm about to read and like go swim in the sea. And that to me is like I'm living my absolute best fucking life. And that, like, I have so much drive to do. I'm like, how can I spend my days experiencing shit and doing fulfilling things and like spending time with people that I love and care about? And like, that's the kind of thing where I'm like, if I died, if I dropped dead in like a few years, I've squeezed everything out of my life. Like, I've done so much shit. To me, that makes so much more sense to like my soul and like my definition of a well-lived life. Oh my God, I've been sat on my ankle like bent this entire time and I actually feel like I need to move it. Otherwise, when I get up or like when I have to drive, I think I might crash. But like, yeah, that to me is like, I don't know. I just don't really want to live my life in a state where it's like always planning for the future. Like, because it's not promised. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with planning, but like you plan and God laughs a little bit. I do believe that because it's like, who's to say that's going to happen? Who's to say I'm going to even be alive then? And that's not in like a morbid way. It's just like my life is right now. My life has started. I'm already in it. And I don't want to feel like I'm living my life constantly in a state of like, I'm pending having the life I want. Like, my goals are pending. Everything's like working towards something. I'm not quite there yet. Like, I don't want to feel like that all the time because it's like, when does that end? That never fucking ends. And then I think you do fall into that trap of being busy all the time rather than actually, are you moving forward towards a happier life or like doing more shit that you like doing? Or are you just really fucking busy and you're setting yourself a million goals because it's like a distraction almost? Like you don't know what you're doing. So you're just kind of like, well, I've got a 5-year plan, so I must be sorted. When it's like, but is that what you want, you know? I don't know. I need to shut the fuck up because I've been talking for so long and clearly having no notes and no outline, not an issue. I do want to add as well, I have put it in the banner of my YouTube and also like a little intro thing, but I am putting these episodes, it's on Spotify now, the audio, because I just think it gives more options. Like if you want to listen to one of these on a walk or like while you're driving, like a lot of the time that's when I listen to a podcast. You know, it's nice to have the option of like you can watch it or you can listen to it. So I am putting them all on Spotify now. The link to that is in the description. And what else is new? I've got an Instagram for this podcast. I've got a TikTok. I put some shorts on. I put the episodes on Spotify. Is that it? I believe that's it. I think that's all the like updates. But yeah, thank you for listening. I hope this audio was really sexy. If not, I have wasted my money. So I'm sure it is. I'm sure it sounds better. But anyway, yeah, thank you for listening. And maybe the next episode or two, maybe I'm gonna make them more casual from now on. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. I'm experimenting. I'm trialing. But also sorry if I do sound ill in this entire episode. I have been ill, like I said. I don't know if I said that, but hopefully I don't sound like disgusting and that it's tolerable in your ears. But yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you next week.